How are you doing? I might get this up here in a second now that this is live. There we go. And I just want to make sure. There we are. I just want to make sure if I see any comments come up, I take care of the comments. So, today is going to be a fun one. I've been thinking about this for a while, especially since one of my good friends, who's a regular watcher, asked for something that is. I think she was looking for something with very little starch, very little salt, very little any bad stuff. She didn't sound like there are a lot of things that she didn't want to have. Sugar. I mean, just something healthier. And fortunate for me, I'd been thinking about doing this one for a long time, and a very good friend of mine just happened to hand across to me some of the produce that she's gotten out of her garden, including those, some very tiny eggplants, zucchini, and squash. And so I'm going to be making ratatouille today. For those of you who have seen the film, if you haven't seen the film Ratatouille, go back and see the film. It's one of the single best films Pixar has ever done. And the food in there is just amazing, and it's all real stuff. And you can find these recipes all online. Specifically, the one I'm using today for Ratatouille is from All Recipes, and it's a pretty straightforward one. I'm going to go ahead and do some. I've already gotten some of the stuff started just because you don't need to see me mince a quarter cup garlic. I've already started to get the onion taken care of. I have not prepped the other vegetables, so you get to see me do some of that stuff and then make everything. I am going to be throwing it into the oven, and when I throw it into the oven, I'm going to call it good for the day, because it has to sit in the oven for 40 minutes, and you don't need to sit there and watch me like this do nothing for 40 minutes, except for just kind of maybe hang out and drink or something. So, by the way, the beverage today is a cheap frozen pina colada from over at the grocery store. Why? Because we can, and they're enjoyable and they're yummy. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn on the oven, and I'm going to turn on the oven, and then I'm going to start prepping all the stuff that has to get prepped for the rest of this as we go through, and I'll talk you through what all I'm doing. So let me go grab a bowl for some of the nasty that's going to come off of this stuff. And so, first things I have to do, I need to go through and start prepping some of these other vegetables. Let me get another bowl for this. Let me get 2 more bowls. There we go. Otherwise, I hope everybody is having a wonderful day. I see that, and Melody asked for me to post an image of it when it's up. That's totally what I plan to do. Is when I get done with all of this, I'm going to throw a picture of what it ends up looking like. While I'm doing this, though, I am going to go ahead and first chop my onion. And I think you guys can, you can just barely see that. Since I'm not having to smash the garlic, I can go ahead and do this over here on the cooktop. And again, nice little trick. If you have a cutting board that likes to slide around, fold over a kitchen towel, throw that underneath, and you're good. And then when you're chopping stuff, remember, you got chop, dice, mince for bigger, medium, little. And a lot of times when you're doing stuff like this, you can go ahead and start out. If there's a long way on whatever you're chopping, go ahead and start that long way, because that way it just kind of makes it easier for you to do the next section. And the whole bit is you're trying for regular size pieces, and because you don't want to have anything. It's like when you go to a real restaurant, you don't want to have pieces of like chicken or vegetables or things like that, like little tiny ones right next to really big chunks, because then you know that nothing got cooked the same as anything else. So I'm going to go ahead and throw all of that onion in there. And as I said, I went ahead and I already minced, that's about a bulb and a half of garlic, a quarter cup. And since that's all going to go in together, I'm going to go ahead and put that together in there. Let me scrape all of these off. All right, now for the fun part. I'm going to start prepping the squash and the eggplant. And for any of you who saw the movie, you know that you end up getting the squash and the eggplant and just the slices of everything else that go in. They all go in very thin slices when you're going through. So this is one of those things where it very much helps for you to have a good knife that is sharp. There we go. I'm going to take all of this and dump that in there. Use that one for my trash. And then so, with the knife, and again, you'll see how I'm holding the knife here. One of the best things you can do, watch Worst Cooks, especially the celebrity editions. Worst Cooks on the Food Channel, Food Network. Chef Ann is great on teaching knife etiquette and like how to use stuff. But some of the other stuff, some of the different chefs that are out there have taken the last few months and have done some really good stuff online to show how to use stuff. If anybody, is one of the best things you can improve in the kitchen is your knife skills. So that's the cap of it. And the more you do it, the more you practice, the better you get. And you can see me sitting here trying to keep my fingers in so I don't slice my fingers off. The last thing you want is squash and fingernail. Unless, of course, it's Halloween and you can figure something out. But I hope everybody's having an amazing 4th of July. I know this is a weird one because none of us are doing what we want to do with other people. And if you are doing what you want to do with other people, shame on you. You should be at home wearing a mask and being quiet. Don't go to the bars. Don't go to the restaurants. And I know people don't like to hear that. This is a very serious thing. We're going to see the numbers over the next few weeks are going to skyrocket. And they're going to get to a ridiculously stupid amount. And right now we're at 100. We're more than 125,000 people dead. We have 4% of the world's population, and we have 25% of the world's dead. And over the next several months, if things do not change and people don't get it out of their heads that this is not a freedom issue, this is a save your friends and neighbors and relatives issue, we're going to see 300,000 at least, if not more, dying to all of this. So I'm going to sit and rant. And if Steve is still on, hello Steve, I haven't seen you in a while. And for a lot of this stuff, a lot of what I'm doing right now is just stupid, simple cooking, and people try too hard. They try to make a deal of it. You go online or you see those commercials for all those different tools and gadgets and gizmos. They don't make your life easier in the kitchen. Best thing you can do in the kitchen is spend the money on a good set of knives and then practice and try to do what you can to make good food for the people you love. And if you don't love anybody, then just at least make good food for yourself. So there we go. The stuff that you're going to make, that was almost a bad thing. The food that you make at home is going to be so much better for you anyway. Oh, and this stuff, something I've seen somebody do, I'm not going to do it myself, and I don't really plan to. You can take all those trimmings off of some of these plants, and I've seen people batter them and fry them, which really all that is a fried delivery device. So, all right. Next one. And a lot of this just comes down to being, and again, very firm hold on the knife, very firm hold on the vegetable. And the more you practice, the better you get and the easier this gets. It's like anything else you do. No matter what your hobby, no matter what your skill, your interest, whatever, first time you do it, you're going to be awful. Everybody is horrible. First time Eddie Van Halen picked up a guitar, I bet somebody was about ready to throw it out the window. Alright. I know, honestly, with both of these, I could have just sat there and probably left the skin on, but I like doing it this way. And just get the tips off of those. Now for the eggplant, these are some tiny little eggplants. So we're going to find out how these do. You know what? I'm almost thinking, oh no, that works great. That works great. And this tool I'm using to skin these, this peeler, is the peeler that we have had for 20 years probably. They are great tools as long as you use them correctly. You can absolutely get some amazing results. There we go. And I'm going to need 2 more bowls by the time I get done with this. But if anybody has anything interesting going on, I would love to hear about it. Otherwise, you're going to hear me ranting about what's going on right now in the world, or you can hear me boring you with stories of cooking. But one of my favorite things about Ratatouille, obviously, is the food. About the movie Ratatouille is the food and the cooking. As you can guess, I'm a little bit of a foodie. I like the process. I like knowing how stuff gets done. And when you see it happening in, like, it's just one of the best researched films on the subject. Got some more bowls. All 3 of these, well, I mean, the first 3 things I'm done here, they're all pretty well the same thing. A lot of similar. When you're doing that, you want to keep your fingers curved over while you're holding them down. That way, if the knife hits anything, it hits your knuckles and doesn't cut them. So let's see here. I've got these, and next, I think you guys have seen me clean peppers before. A lot of people think peppers are really hard to do. Like bell peppers. Bell peppers are really simple. There's a few different ways to go about it. And it's a lot simpler than people make it out to be. It's not as hard as people make it out to be. Let me get a couple more slices off of these. There we go. All right, we'll call that good. Okay, bell peppers. Bell peppers, really easy to do. There's a couple of ways. I'll do one of them one way, I'll do the other one the other way. This one I'll take off the top, I'll take off the bottom, I'll do a slice, and then I'll lay it out. And so you'll see how that gets done. All right, top and the bottom are out. And I can go down through, break any of the connective tissue. And by doing that, I can just take the center section and just push it right through. Voila. Right down the side, break it open. And then you want to take any of the whitish skin on the inside and just slice that off very carefully. It's almost like you're filleting a fish. because that puts a really strong flavor that you may not want in your food. This is another case why you want to have a really sharp knife, is because if you're working in very close proximity to your fingers, you don't want to have to force anything. The more you have to force something with the knife, the better chance that something's going to happen. So I've got that sliced out. I'm going to lay this down. And these are also supposed to be thin slices, but I'm going to try and cut these on a bias to get it to kind of match some of the stuff that's going on here. Oh, no, I'm just going to go ahead and... Now let's try going on the back side. And I'm just trying to make these thin slices, almost so they look like noodles of some sort. Because the other way to do this, I suppose, if you want to get it to match the shape of everything else that's in here, is you can take these and you could even cut your peppers into like squares or rectangles or circles or something. I mean, just there's different things you could do if you wanted it to match. But it's just all comes back down to how you orient it. Oh, and I just remembered I should have turned on the oven right about now. And I believe this goes to 400. And again, I am using, nope, 375, I'm sorry. Turn that on. Bake. 375. Alrighty. Let's take a look here. But there's a couple of different ways to do this. But if you saw in the film, and if you've seen some of the recipes shown online, there's a few different ways to go about this. And it's just basically you just want to go in and just arrange all of your stuff. And you want to do it in a manner. See, these all ended up almost like little French fries. Almost like little shoestring fries. There we go. And so, that was the way that I did the first one. The second one, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this anyway, because really, there's a couple of ways, like I said, you can do this, and both of them end up with the same idea. The problem with this one is you end up losing some of the fruit on the top, but I'm not too worried about that given what we're trying to do here. And again, cut the connective tissue. Cut the connective tissue. And drop that out. And so the whole idea here is you're wanting to get rid of any of the stuff that's on the inside. You want to get rid of the seeds. You want to get rid of the white skin that's in there, because it's a strong flavor you don't really want. Because if you get bell peppers cooked just the right way, it's this really nice little flavor that runs through everything. And if you are trying to, if you leave all this stuff in there, it can really not really sour the flavor, but it makes it really strong and it overwhelms everything else. So, wondering if anybody else who's on has tried to make something like this before. All right, so here we go again. The easy way. This is going to end up looking really pretty. The whole idea here is to have, as much as you want it to be a yummy dish, you want it to be a pretty dish. And the whole thing is vegetarian. The whole thing, actually vegan, unless you got some crazy stuff going on. There we go. And let's get this going. A few more slices. All right. So here's my. There you go. A little bit of red pepper. And it's the same thing. You just want to try and get uniform pieces. You want everything to be the same. That way it cooks through the same. Everything in here is about the same thickness. Everything in here is about the same same ability to be cooked. And so now that I am done with prepping all of those, I am going to start putting stuff into. I get a drink. I haven't had a drink yet. It's yummy. All right, let's see here. I need to start looking at. Oh yeah, can opener. Do a can opener. Drop this in. And at this point is where it's going to start getting interesting. So, and as usual, I will ask that if anybody's got anything that they want me to start cooking on here, if they want me to whip something out that's completely different, I keep trying to do stuff that we might have in our cabinets already, or that we can get with a basic quick trip to the grocery store. I know that there are a lot of different ways to go about this, and if there's anything, I know that one of the things I would love to start doing is maybe some of our Korean that we make, but I know that a lot of people, you can't get hold of some of the stuff that we want, that we would use in our Korean cooking. And so now I'm spreading this tomato paste in the bottom of this. You can use any kind of a baking dish. I'm using my cast iron skillet because I know how that's going to work in here, and it should work great for doing this. So I'm going to take the spatula and I'm spreading the tomato paste around in the bottom of the skillet. Full coverage. Almost like making a pizza, but different. Alright. Now I've got that spread around, knowing that some of the other steps that are going to come up are going to mess that all up. So now I can take the onion, this is the half onion chopped, and my garlic. It's a 1/4 cup of minced garlic, and sprinkle that around. All right. Now you get a tablespoon of olive oil. That's about a tablespoon, maybe a little bit more. And a little bit of water, and start stirring. And that's the reason why you want to put the paste, spread that around already, is to get the paste in place. It's if you just dump a big chunk of tomato paste down into this mix, right now it would be so hard to get it split up and separated amongst everything else. So that right there is an amazing step to take in part of this. So I've got, again, this is the recipe on all recipes of, just Google Ratatouille movie recipe and you'll get right to where you want to be. Don't mind me using my fingers on that. There we go. All right. Smooth that out a little bit after getting a rough stir. And now, for the fun part, I can start going through slices of everything and start on the outside and work around towards the center. So we're going to start making a little. This is where it's going to get to be interesting. I'm going to switch. Yeah, I'm going to keep those in there so the red pepper and the green pepper go together. So, because what I'm doing here is I'm doing one each of the squash and the zucchini. Then I'm doing, because of how small they are, a couple slices of the squash. I'm sorry, zucchini, squash, a couple slices of the eggplant, and then a couple each of the green and red bell pepper. So what ends up happening is you are going to go around. This is designed for a 10 by 10 pan, and as you guessed, this is not a 10 by 10 pan. This is a 9-inch skillet. So the size is going to be just a hair off. But this is going to be an interesting little thing to see how it works. And in case you're wondering, no, I've never made this before. So I've made stuff similar to this, where I will just tomato sauce, and the oven is ready to go, is what that's telling me. I've taken tomato sauce and vegetables and done them in a skillet to make something like a cheap, quick version of this. But I have not done this particular recipe. And I'm going to do kind of what I've seen others do, is kind of stand it up a little bit. Let's get this arranged right. Remember, kids, red and yellow kill a fellow. Alrighty. Anybody know where that one came from? Let me know. I know where it came from, but that's only because I know everything, as people who know me will attest to. Alright, let's see here. And I recognize that a lot of these I'm sitting and talking to myself, but I'm okay with that. Because I know that at points, different people will be in here, and I'll get a chance to chat with them. I'm going to start double layering squash. Let's see here. Oh. There we go. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna start double layering squash. With that, it's not gonna be a whole lot of eggplant towards the middle. And so I'm still sitting here putting stuff in, and I'll show you what the progress looks like here in a second after I get this first round done. Let's take a couple of these little wafers. It's waffle thin, so there we go. And I'm going to start doing 2 yellows and a red, because I got a lot more out of that yellow pepper than I got out of the red pepper. There's that. One more eggplant. So now you guys get to sit there and just watch me assemble this thing. All right, let's see. And we're about done with this first round of it. There we go. Coming up on almost to the end. I think one more little insert in here. Eggplant, pepper, pepper. Which one I think that's going to be it. I realize I can get one more batch squeezed in between here. There we go. All right, so that's the first round. I'm going to take this now and I'm going to start working on the inside. Same thing, second verse, same as the first. I think what I'm going to end up doing here, though, is now I've got so little stuff that I'm going to have to start getting creative with what goes where and how often I use the red pepper. And that was really good sized squash. There's that. There's that. And this says this is for a 10 by 10. So I can't even imagine fitting this into a 10 by 10 pan, because this is going to be finishing up in a 9-inch circle. And if any of you kids want to do the math and tell me the difference between the area of a 9-inch circle versus a 10-inch square. Let's see if we can figure that one out in my head. All right. So we are almost done assembling the ratatouille. It's going to be kind of ugly here towards the middle. There we go. I'm going to kind of push this down just a little bit, compress it. All right. So, there's the ratatouille. That looks, I'm pretty happy with that. Now to do something that's suggested. I'm going to a little bit of pepper on top. A little bit of salt, and I'll always definitely like using kosher salt or sea salt for stuff like this. There we go. Sprinkle that over there. Give it a little bit of love. And I'm supposed to use a teaspoon of thyme. I don't have any thyme, so I'm going to be using marjoram, which is very similar. There we go. That was under a teaspoon. That should give it a strong flavor. Then also said drizzle about another few tablespoons of oil. And to do this, so a few more tablespoons of olive oil over the top of it. And so I'm just going to use a regular kitchen spoon. And that kind of helps lightly do that. And again, this is a regular spoon, so it's going to be a little bit less than a tablespoon. And honestly, when you're at this point of the game, extra oil is not a bad thing. All right. Now to the last piece of prep work on this is I'm going to take a, let's see here. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put a piece of parchment paper over the top. In case you saw the movie and you were wondering what it was that Remy did towards the end of that, that's what he did. So, I already have, nope, that's a piece we have cut for the steamer. I'm going to show you, in case you have not seen it yet, this is my trick for parchment paper you have to cut parchment paper for a circle. Cut a piece wide enough to cover, and you start folding it in half on, like you're almost like you're folding a paper airplane, or like you're getting ready to make little snowflake decorations. So fold that in half there, and now I go fold that in half to a 45-degree angle, 22 and a half. One more to an 11 and a quarter. That's how you know I'm a math nerd. And now, kind of set that about where you can towards the center. And you cut the end of it. And again, et voila. Most of the circle. And I'm going to take that. Yeah. Now all that does is that just kind of keeps the top of it from burning in the oven. So with this, it's going into the oven for 40 minutes. So that way it's not entirely covered, it's just partially covered. So, again, that's this says 40 minutes. It's until it is cooking time 45 minutes. It says until the come on. Did I just turn that off? I turned that off. Let's go to 45 minutes. There we go. So 45 minutes in the oven, and it's going to hang out. And it is going to cook and come out tasting awesome. One of the suggestions for it is you can use that. Well, that, and I could have also, before I started, I could have put down parchment paper at the bottom of the pan as well, just in case anything bakes down there. I do that sometimes, I don't always. But with the stuff that you have, that's going to be able to come out and it'll be in good shape when you're finished. As I said earlier, that was this can be in there for 45 minutes. You don't need to see me stand here for 45 minutes, much less like hang out with an empty kitchen. So if anybody has any questions, I would be more than happy to answer them. Otherwise, I will be saying have a good day. Go out. Don't blow your hands up. Wear a mask if you go out. Please, though, don't go out. Don't go to restaurants. Don't do any of the stuff that people are doing, because people are going to start getting a lot more sick, and we don't want any of that. I don't want anything to happen to you guys, and I don't think you want anything happening to other people. So, with that, I hope you guys have a wonderful 4th of July. I will post a picture of what this looks like in 45 minutes when I bring it out of the oven, and I will let you get a chance to see the yummy. So, thanks a lot. Have a good day. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Be strong. Stay healthy.